Hello everyone, welcome to my wood shop. This is John from Clark's Bees and Such, and if you can't tell by the hat, this is our Christmas special. We're going to talk about 32 different gifts that you could possibly buy a beekeeper in your family. So if you're a beekeeper and you're wanting to toss out your wish list to somebody, this might be a good video to show your spouse, your family, your friends, and say, hey, take a look at Clark's Bees and Such video here. Maybe they have some good ideas for you. Or maybe you're a beekeeper and you're wondering, what should I get myself this year for Christmas? Maybe you're flying solo and you just want to talk about your wish list. We're going to cover everything for people, for gifts that will work for the new beekeeper, as well as gifts that will work for a seasoned beekeeper. Somebody's been in the beekeeping world for 1, 2, 3, 4 years, starting to grow, wanting a couple different things, but you might not know what to get them. You don't want to buy something they already have. So what could you possibly buy them that they don't already have that they would appreciate? So anything that would support their hobby, I'm sure they'll like. Hopefully my wife is watching this video as well. Maybe she'll come up with some ideas from this video. So stay tuned. We're going to cover everything from stocking stuffers to $50 to $100 range, $100 plus. We'll cover it all, and hopefully you'll find something that you'll like in this video as well. Okay, let's get started here with number 1. So forgive the mess. We are in my wood shop. This is where I do a lot of my beekeeping work. I build the frames, I build the hive kits, things like that. So some of the activities that we're going to talk about, some of the gifts may actually apply to those beekeepers who do the woodworking themselves. You can go buy kits already assembled, but maybe if you're doing stuff on your own, you may want to get some of these ideas. So here we go. For stocking stuffer ideas. Idea number 1, hive tools. Yeah, hive tools, you can never go wrong with a hive tool. I'll put a picture down here. But hive tools, a beekeeper can never have too many. Yes, I still have the original one I purchased. Yes, I still use it. But it's nice when you're in the bee yard, you may leave a hive tool here, hive tool here. You may have boxes in different areas of your house. You're one in here, the wood shop, one out in the pole barn. You can never go wrong getting a hive tool. Put a hive tool in the stocking stuffer, you're good. They don't cost a whole lot of money. You may have watched some of my previous videos where we talk about duct tape. If you are a beekeeper, especially a beekeeper doing vacuums, bee vacs, you're doing cutouts, you're doing things like that, duct tape is always handy. Painter's tape is also good. Painter's tape, the bees don't mind the painter's tape near as much as the duct tape. Of course, duct tape will stick to the boxes and you get all kinds of issues. Painter's tape in the wintertime, you can always run painter's tape around the sides of the bee boxes, the hive bodies to keep the wind from going through. It just helps them out a little bit. Painter's tape's handy. Put painter's tape in your stocking, put duct tape in your stocking. That's all good. I'm gonna have to put these on real quick. Another idea is if your beekeeper that you know is selling honey, so they are producing their own honey right now. They've got to the point where they're bottling honey, whatever, selling it out in honey bear, plastic bears, or quart jars. You can always get them some honey for sale signs. Go online, just type in honey for sale, and they'll pop up with some signs you can purchase. These can be metal signs, they can be banners, they can be whatever, but anything to help them out in their honey sale business. If you are a beekeeper or your person you're watching this video for is a beekeeper and that you know that they feed their bees liquid syrup, sugar syrup, you may want to get them some bucket feeders or some bucket feeder plugs. My friend Greg at Nature's Image Farm, he sells these great plugs. You can put in 1 gallon, 2 gallon, 5 gallon if you want to. You can put these plugs in the lid, set them on top of the hive, and then the bees can drink the syrup from there. Those plugs are pretty easy to use. They're fairly inexpensive. It's a good way to feed your bees. Take a look at Nature's Image Farm. That's Greg's the owner there. And they also have other supplies, but those feeder plugs are pretty good. And so I would recommend you check them out there. For Christmas, since it is Christmas, maybe you want to buy a Christmas ornament. And my good friend Jason at Bohemia Bees, he makes these handmade hive ornaments. I think they cost like $10 a piece. Handmade, beautiful beehives. You can just hang on a Christmas tree. Maybe it's your first year into bees and you want to, let that person remember the time with bees. So maybe you want to get one of those ornaments just to commemorate the time that they had there as a beekeeper. So take a look at him, bohemiabees.com. And he also has other supplies too. Jason does. And great YouTube channel. Same with Greg at Nature's Image Farms. Take a look at their YouTube channels as well. If you're assembling hive frames, wood glue. Wood glue is always handy. You can get, I use Titebond 2. Now, a lot of people recommend going to Titebond 3. It's a little more expensive, but it's supposed to be more waterproof, more durable. I always use water Type Bond too. I haven't had any problems, but just get a squeeze bottle of wood glue, or 2 or 3. You can even get the half gallon or gallon size things of wood glue. So wood glue is always good. If you're new to beekeeping, or even if you're just starting out, maybe year 1, year 2, beekeeping books are always good. You know, beekeeping books are great, but here's where you have to be careful. What if you buy me a book that I've already got? And if you don't know what books they have on their shelves, you might not know which books to order. So keep that in mind if you're going to buy books. If it's somebody brand new thinking about beekeeping, there's a lot of great introductory to beekeeping books out there that you can purchase. I'll have another video one of these days that talks about the different books and which ones I like and which ones I don't, but that's a good one. Again, people starting out new into beekeeping, you can get them a veil. You can get them a veil to wear when they're out in the bee yard. You can get them a suit to wear in the bee yard, just the jacket. You can get them gloves, the goat skin gloves if you want to, if they decide that they want to wear gloves. But if they're a beginning beekeeper, they're probably going to want gloves. So you might think about doing that as a stocking stuffer. You can shove it in there. Not really a stocking stuffer, but another possibility is just a beginner's beekeeping kit. Now you can go online and find these. A lot of the beekeeping kits could be in the $30 range, $50 range. They may have different various tools. You may have a hive tool. You may have a bee brush. You may have different things that would come with the tools that a basic beekeeper may want to have. Some queen excluders, different things like that. Go online, look for them. They'd be great stocking stuffers. You could always buy them a subscription to the American Bee Journal. Go to AmericanBeeJournal.com. There's like $30 a year, give or take. If they like to read, that might be a suitable gift for a beekeeper in your family, or maybe even for yourself. If you watch some of my previous videos, you will know that I say 5-gallon buckets are a beekeeper's best friend. You can't go wrong. If I woke up one day and Christmas morning and I found that my wife put a whole bunch of 5-gallon buckets under the tree, most people would laugh and be disappointed. Not me. I use 5-gallon buckets all the time. If you get your beekeeper any type of bucket, 1 gallon, 2 gallon, 3 gallon, 5 gallon, whatever the case may be, try to get to be food grade and make sure it has a lid. Those 2 components. Lids don't always match other buckets, so make sure if you're getting them a gift of a bucket, which sounds funny, but hey, it works. Get them food grade buckets with a lid, and then you can always use one of Greg's bucket feeder plugs to put in there, and they can use it for a hive top feeder if they would like to as well. If you're like me, where you have problems sometimes reading up close, I can see far away just fine, but anything within 5 inches of my face, I have to have glasses on. Well, if I've got my readers, my just El Cheapo $2 dollar store, whatever they are, glasses, if I've got those on, my reading glasses, and I'm out working in the hives, it is a pain. I can't see the frames close enough that I want to without them, but if I have them on under my veil and I'm working in the hives, then I've got problems. I got to keep shifting these things around. Get your beekeeper a cheap set of bifocals, real bifocals. The ones that have the line in them where you can look down, the old-fashioned glasses. You get the line, you can look right through there. So if you're a beekeeper, you can have your glasses on. Here, there's no, on the traditional bifocals that you can get for like $10 maybe on Amazon. I've got 4 or 5 pairs laying around here. They're usually in my bee bucket, so I got them handy. Here, it doesn't mess up my distance vision. But when I'm looking at the frames and inspecting the frames, I can look right through those bifocals and see exactly what I need to see without having to adjust my glasses under my veil all the time. So bifocals may sound funny, but if you're the ripe old age of 50 or older like I am, you may need those bifocals. It'd be a great Christmas gift. All right, so now I've switched hats and we can go into the next section. We're gonna hit the gifts that are in the $50 to $100 range for a lot of beekeepers. Again, if you're a hobbyist, a lot of these gifts will apply. If you're a commercial beekeeper, these probably aren't the best gifts in the world. But for somebody starting out year 1, year 2, year 3, you might need some of these things, especially for people brand new to beekeeping. If you're going to build and assemble your own frames like I do frequently, and you can see a lot of these things over here where I've been working putting frames together. If you're out in the wood shop, a shop vac. If you don't have a shop vacs are great. An electric shop vac, it's dual purpose. Number 1, it can clean up all the sawdust that you may make in the wood shop. Number 2, you could use that as a bee vacuum if you're doing a cutout, capturing swarms, things like that. So a shop vac, to me, is one of those musts, first musts, I guess, for a beekeeper. Very handy to have. If you're going to build your frames, you're going to get the frames unassembled or the Hive boxes unassembled, or you're going to build them yourself, the best thing to use would be an air compressor. You can use the old-fashioned, you can glue them up and put them in there and drive nails in there. It's a whole lot quicker if you have an air compressor and a brad nailer. Brad nailers are pretty cheap. You can go to Harbor Freight. The air compressors are not expensive. Go to Harbor Freight. I'm not talking about the large mechanic air compressors that stand up like 5 or 6 feet tall. I'm talking about the little small Harbor Freight, 1 gallon, plug it in. It's not that, they're like $50, whatever they are. It's a great gift if you don't have an air compressor, if you don't have the brad nailer. You can get the air compressor and brad nailer in for about $100 all in. You've got this, even including some nails that you can purchase. Ideally, you get the brad nailer that also can do staples. So I use staples and nails when I'm building my frames, and one of these days I'll show you exactly how I do that process. You can always buy Hive boxes. I mean, there's no beekeeper out there that I'm aware of that doesn't need or want more Hive boxes, Hive bodies. You can buy what's called a deep super. You can buy a medium super. You can buy the Hive bottom boards, the covers. You can go online to Amazon. You can go online. You can go to your local farm supply store. They may have a beekeeping section. You can go ahead and buy the boxes that are already cut, and all you have to do is assemble them. And that's great for the beekeeper to give them some time out in the wood shop. It's cheaper than buying one that's already assembled. But hey, if it's a Christmas gift, go ahead, get them the assembled one. That's okay too. A beekeeping suit. If they're brand new to beekeeping, they may not have the suit. They may not have the coat that has the veil attached to it. There's all kinds of ones out there. Some are certainly more expensive than others. Unless you have severe allergies, I would never recommend the full body suit, the pants and the jacket. The jacket I wear sometimes. The veil I usually always wear if I'm out and taking care of my bees away from home. And sometimes I'll wear the veil at home, depending on the time of year and the attitude and demeanor of the bees at that point in time. But a beekeeping suit. Number 19, if you're going to, so that's where we're at right now, number 19. If you are going to use an oxalic acid vaporizer, those are great. And I use them all the time. I'll show you one here in a few minutes. But if you're driving out to visit your bees in a bee yard, far away from where you can run electric cords and stretch it out there to plug in your oxalic acid vaporizer, you may need to run that vaporizer off of your car or truck battery. So what you can do is, and what I do, is just get an inverter, okay? This is a 400 watt inverter, and I can plug it in right here into the ashtray, and boom, I got power. I could also change this cord up if I wanted to and attach it to the car battery, or my truck battery is what I use in my truck. And these are like, I don't know, $40. They go all kinds of different sizes and range and cost, but you don't have to get the most expensive one. All you're doing is running a vaporizer. As long as the wattage will cover what that vaporizer requires, you're good, you're golden. So this one works for me, and that's what I use right now. It's just an Everstart. I think I got that at Walmart. So that's a good gift to have that a lot of people probably don't think of. And if you're a beekeeper getting into it and just doing the oxalic acid vaporizing treatments right now for varroa mites, then they may not have thought that about themselves either. So this is maybe a good gift. And if you don't have one, if you're the beekeeper listening to this, you might want to pick one up. Okay, we're going to move on to the $100 to $500 range. One is a Christmas gift that I just received, and that is, yes, I know it's December 1st, and yes, my wife already gave me permission to use it, and I have already used it. She recently purchased for me, at my request for Christmas, a Little Giant ladder. Now, Little Giant is just the brand name. I don't care which one you use, but what I like about the Little Giant, when I'm out doing a cutout, when I'm out doing a swarm catch, I can extend that baby up to 22 feet if I want to lean it up against the wall, if I want to lean it up against a tree. If I'm working above my head and say we're doing a cutout on the ceiling of under some gutters, under some rafters, I can separate that ladder out and put a board across, and now I've got scaffolding. So that's very handy, especially if you're working up high and you have to move in a variety of locations. So the Little Giant ladder fits easily in the back of my short bed truck, and there we go. We're off. Number 21, if you want to progress in your beekeeping skills and activities, if you want to start doing some cutouts, you may want to invest in a Cordless Shop Vac. Now again, this is about $200. I happen to have a Ryobi cordless shop vac that I use for my cutouts and swarm traps. I take this thing with me. I don't have to worry about an electric cord. I don't have to worry about the inverter running anything. You don't have to carry this gigantic shop vac around with me. I've got a cordless shop vac, very handy for swarm catches, very handy for cutouts, very handy if you're in a bee tree and pulling bees out. Just lots of great uses. It's not necessary. It's just I find it very useful and a benefit. For the wish list for beekeepers, I do not have this. I probably will never spend my own money on this. I've never used it, so this is not a plug for this particular item. But if you go online, do a Google search, go to broodminder.com. I know there's a lot of beekeepers out there. My friend Brad Hogg at Faith Apiaries in Canada, he uses Broodminder. He's got it out there. He's tested it out. There's several people that have. There's lots of YouTube videos on it where you can watch Broodminder. Broodminder can monitor the temperatures of the hive. It goes onto your app. You can see exactly where you're at in the different hives at any given moment. Temperature, humidity. There's a Broodminder weight scale as well. Again, these are wish list items. These are not requirements for any beekeeper. But if you've got a few extra $100 that you would like to spend on your favorite beekeeper this year, that may be an idea for you. Number 24, a FLIR camera. A FLIR camera is a thermal image camera. You can buy the camera itself. They're about $400 or $500, give or take. Or you can buy an adapter that plugs into your iPhone, which is what I use. So I bought an adapter. I think it was like $200 maybe, somewhere around there. Plugs into the base of my iPhone. I can go to, if I'm doing a cutout, I can take a picture of it in my thermal image camera. It will show me where the hot spots are. That's where the bees are. Or in the middle of winter, if I want to walk out, I can just take a thermal image picture of my colonies and see how well they're doing. I can see if there's a huge cluster or a small cluster, or heaven forbid, a no cluster, right? So those FLIR cameras are very nice in the wintertime. You get the camera itself or just a phone adapter. But if your beekeeper doesn't have one, it's great. I mean, it's one of my favorite extras that I have as a beekeeper is that FLIR camera. If you're buying something for a brand new beekeeper, you can always purchase a brand new hive kit with everything they need. The bottom board, the deeps, if you're going with deeps, the mediums, you're going mediums, 10 frame, 8 frame, whatever they are. Now, be careful with this one. If you're going to purchase a hive kit for somebody for Christmas, a brand new beekeeper, or if maybe you're the brand new beekeeper and you're watching this to see what you want to buy, you need to make sure you consult with that individual and make sure you do your research if you're brand new to figure out, what do you want? Do you want a 10 frame body, or do you want an 8 frame body? Do you want to go 5 frame, 6 frame? Whatever you get, whatever you buy for that individual, they're going to be stuck with. And if they're a type of person that wants to go with all mediums down the road, then don't buy them deeps. If they're a person that wants to go with all deeps down the road, don't buy them mediums. If they want all 10 frame stuff, don't buy them an 8 frame kit. So that's something you might want to consult with that person before you purchase. But hey, if they're just starting out with beekeeping, anything's better than nothing, is what I would say. So keep that in mind. You can go a complete hive kit, assembled, can be in the $200 to $300 range. Maybe it's unassembled, it's $150 to $250 range. It just depends where you get them, and there's all kinds of sources for those hive kits. But that's an idea. Number 26, if you've got 5, 10 hives and you're tired of spending a lot of money on mite treatments, or maybe you haven't been treating your mites at all, maybe you want to think about getting an oxalic acid vaporizer. There are some YouTube videos out there that will tell you how to make those vaporizers. I am not mechanically inclined. I can do the basics in terms of woodworking, but I'm certainly not very skilled at much of the craftsmanship. So what I did was I actually purchased a vaporizer. I purchased a vaporizer from Lorobbees. That's lorobbees.com. This is what the vaporizer looks like. It's handheld, very dirty, very durable, very sturdy. You put the oxalic acid here, and you heat it up, and turn it upside down. Put the oxalic acid in, get it up to the right temperature, flip it over. It's in the hive, and it's blowing oxalic acid that vaporizes the hive. Again, you can see 380 watts inverter, 400 watts. I'm good, right? So now I can go out to my apiaries, or my out yards, my bee yards, and I can use the oxalic acid vaporizer without having to worry about stringing a million extension cords to and from to get that one working. But Lorobbees, I think that's their address. You can see it right there. These are about 250 to 275, somewhere in that range, and very well worth it. When you spend as much time with the bees as we do, and you have as much money invested in the bees as we do, you definitely want to make sure you're treating for mites. So that's an idea. If they don't have a vaporizer, you can purchase one. There are cheaper vaporizers out there and cheaper avenues to do this, but when you've got 30, well, okay, when you get 10 hives, you know, you can easily do it with the wands that go in, and they're a lot cheaper and easy to use. But when you've got multiple hives, 30, 40, 50, more, I mean, you want to use something like this that heats up quicker and can get the job done a lot quicker than the wands that you would use. If they are just getting started, or if you're just getting started in terms of honey and you want to start extracting honey and start bottling things up, one of the things that I really love that I have is the Uncapping Tank. I don't recall which brand I have. I think it's Mann Lake. I bought it used off of my mentor that I bought most of my beekeeping stuff from, Wild Bill in Wabash, Indiana. But the Uncapping Tank is beautiful. I mean, it comes with two tanks, two tubs, two gray tubs. You stick them on there. You do the uncapping here. The wax, the caps, some of the honey will fall out. It will drain down into the bottom bucket, and then there's a spigot down at the bottom. We can drain out all the honey and still get that use. So highly recommend that one. Uncapping Tank, they're about $200 maybe, give or take, depending on what setup you use. You can always send, number 28, you can always send your beekeeper to a bee school. The local state association, maybe there's some smaller associations out there that have bee schools. There's lots of great people online that sell virtual schools, things like that. I've not been to a virtual school, so I don't know what that would be like. I've been to several live beekeeping schools, great. My favorite, it would be number 29, is the Hive Life Conference. Now today is December 1st, 2021. Last year was the first Hive Life Conference. This was set up by Cayman Reynolds, and he's out there on YouTube. When last I checked, I think last night we were talking in the Hive Life Conference group, there were 36 spots left. So this Hive Life Conference for 2022 in January will be held in Sevierville, Tennessee. Last year was just amazing. I mean, we had Dirt Rooster there, we had Bob Benny there, we had Kent Williams there, we had Cayman Reynolds there, Kent Williams and Cayman Reynolds, all great minds in beekeeping. I learned tons. I took like 50 pages of notes. The beautiful thing about that Hive Life Conference was everybody was there. They were diehard. They wanted to learn about beekeeping. And we started, we got there at like 7 a.m. and we left at 7 p.m. And at 7 p.m. on a Friday night in Nashville, Tennessee, that one was, and then again 7 p.m. Saturday, every seat was still taken. I mean, these people were great. They're great to learn from. They're great to deal with. This conference is going to be outstanding. There's 36 spots left. If you're interested in that one, go to Hive Life Conference. I mean, if you're a beekeeper, go to it. Just type in Hive Life Conference on YouTube or Google. It'll take you right to it. And there's 36 spots left. Great event. And highly would recommend that one. I think tickets are like $180 this year. So that includes meals, breakfast, and lunch, I believe. So it's pricey for some, but it's a experience and a learning environment unlike any other. So that's something you might want to consider. Number 30 is an extractor. If you're going to produce honey, if you're going into honey production, at some point in time, you're going to need an extractor. Now, there's all kinds of extractors out there. There's hand crank extractors, 2-frame extractors, to getting on to the radial and electric extractors. I have a 20-frame extractor, and it's wonderful. I would always encourage you to go electric. Go electric if possible. Now, one thing, if you're going to buy this as a gift for somebody else, make sure you know what type of frames they're using. Some extractors can do deep frames and medium frames. Some can only do medium frames. Some may only do the shallow frames. My extractor, my 20 frame that I have, my setup, is only for medium frames. So if I have if I have some deeps full of honey, I can't use my electric extractor. So if you're going to buy something for somebody, especially something at that price, and they can go from a couple $100, to $800 for electric, on up to thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars if you're a commercial beekeeper. So make sure you know what type of honey they're after. Just if you've got more than 5 hives, I would not waste any money on a manual extractor. I mean, you're gonna wear that arm out. You want to have some sort of electric extractor to get all the honey out there and not burn yourself out. Number 31, buying some frames. Buying some frames that they can assemble on their own. You can get like 100 frames for, I don't know, $150. They're wooden. You can go out on the main beekeeping stores out there. They'll send you the package, and then you can get foundations to put in there, plastic foundation, wax foundation. You can get the plastic frames that have, just the whole thing is plastic with the frames and foundation in there. That's something you can consider. Again, talk to your beekeeper. Make sure you know what size frames and foundation they want to use. All right, now for our final segment, and this is my last Christmas hat that I have. I don't know if you can see it clearly or not, but it's supposed to be a Christmas tree, and it doesn't quite work when I put it on, but that's the way it goes, okay? So it's my son's, I think. I don't know where we got it. So here we go, $500 range and some bonus items for gifts. So these are big time gifts you want to get for somebody. Number one, I guess this is actually item number 32 here, and I should have included this under stocking stuffers as well. If you don't know what to buy your beekeeper, you can always buy them a gift certificate. You can go to Mann Lake or another beekeeping store online and buy a gift certificate. Better yet, buy local. In Indiana, we have Bastin Honey Bees. They have gift certificates you can purchase. Any dollar amount you want, 25, 50, 100, whatever it would be, you could buy the gift certificates, put them in the stocking, and the beekeeper can get whatever they want to. You can always go big with extractors, like I mentioned before, and that'd be $500 plus range. If you really want to spoil your beekeeper, and there are some beekeepers out there on YouTube that have these and have reviewed them, I personally have never used one, but you can get a Hive Lifter. I would love one of those, but old John I'm never going to drop the money on a Hive Lifter. If somebody out there is watching this and they're independently wealthy and care to purchase one for me, hey, I'd love that for Christmas, but odds are I'll probably never have one. But you can go to beehivelifters.com, and what these Hive Lifters are, they lift the supers of honey up manually or electronically. It's kind of like a cart, a refrigerator cart you get. You can probably build one or manufacture your own. So at beehivelifter.com, they're about $1,100 for a manual one, $1,550 for an electric one. And honestly, if I was going to spend that much money on this contraption, I would certainly go with the electric. So you press the button and it will raise the honey super up. So especially if you get deeps, if you're running deeps and those are full of honey, man, those things are heavy and they're hard on your back. But again, that would be a wish, not something that I would probably purchase for myself ever, or purchase for anybody else ever, for that matter. But that was number 34, the beehivelifter.com. There are thousands of beekeeping gifts that I could have mentioned here on this video. You grab any catalog from Mann Lake, the Dant, anywhere that sells bees. You can go online and sells bees or beekeeping equipment. You got 200 pages of potential items you could purchase. So this is not by far, this is not everything or anything that you would always want, but just some ideas for you to use in purchasing gifts for a beekeeper that you may know of. And one bonus item, if you are from Indiana and you are so inclined, I'm still looking for a 1915, 18, 19, 21, 29, 30, 32, and 2001 license plate to complete my collection that begins in 1913 with Indiana's first license plate. But that's irrelevant. That was just bonus material. So thank you again for watching Clark's Bees and Such. We appreciate you. So if I don't talk to you before then, have a very Merry Christmas. And be sure to take a look at the Hive Life Conference. Be sure to go to Nature's Image Farm, Bohemia Apiary. Take a look at what they have to offer. You may find tons more gifts that you would like to get your beekeeper, or maybe even yourself if you're watching this video. So thanks so much. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.